Some stories have no end. They are like a door that opens into darkness and we can only stand at the edge, wondering what lies beyond. These are the tales of mass disappearances, cases where groups of people vanish without a trace. They leave behind empty homes, silent ships, and questions that echo through time. We search for clues, we look for answers, but sometimes all we find is more mystery. The world is full of these puzzles. Today we're diving into some of the most baffling ones ever recorded. These aren't just stories, they are real events that challenge what we think we know. History is a book filled with incredible tales of adventure and discovery, but some of its pages are blank. They represent moments when the world stopped making sense. Imagine a bustling village full of life suddenly falling silent. Think of a ship at sea, found perfectly intact but with its entire crew gone. These are not scenes from a movie. Real events have puzzled investigators and historians for decades. People were living their lives, then one day they were gone. Their stories became legends, whispered from one generation to the next. Join me on a journey into the heart of these enigmas. Our first stop is the coast of North Carolina back in the late 1500s. An English explorer named John White. He led a group of over 100 people, men, women, children. They came to establish a new life in America. They settled on Roanoke Island, a place of hope. New beginnings. But John White had to return to England for supplies. He promised to come back soon. The trip took 3 long years. When he finally returned in 1590, he expected to find a thriving community. He expected to be greeted by his family, including his granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. Instead, he found silence. The settlement was gone. Houses carefully taken down, not destroyed in a fight. The entire colony, more than 100 people, had vanished. One clue remained, a single word carved into a wooden post, Croatoan. Let's travel forward in time to the year 1900. Our destination is a remote, rocky island off the coast of Scotland, the Flannan Isles. A tall stone lighthouse stood on this windswept rock. 3 experienced keepers were stationed there. Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, Donald MacArthur. Their job was to keep the light burning. But on December 15th, a passing ship noticed something was wrong. The light was out. A relief ship, the Hesperus, was sent to investigate. It arrived on December 26th. The island was eerily quiet. The landing dock was empty. The crew blew their horn and fired a flare, but there was no response. A boat was sent ashore. The main door was unlocked. Inside, the clocks had all stopped. An uneaten meal of salted meat and potatoes sat on the table. A chair lay overturned. The keepers' beds were unmade. Their waterproof oilskins and other heavy weather gear were missing. It seemed 2 had left in a hurry, but one set of oilskins still hung on its hook. One keeper had gone out into the storm without protection. The official logbook showed entries up to December 15th. The last entry described a terrible storm with high waves, though the weather was calm that day. The final word spoke of a deep quietness. The men were never seen again. The mystery of the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers remains one of the greatest maritime puzzles of all time. Our next mystery takes us to the frozen north of Canada to the shores of Lake Anjikuni. In November 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle arrived at a small Inuit village he knew well. He had visited many times before, always greeted with warmth and friendship. The village was home to about 30 people. As he approached, a strange unease washed over him. The air was silent. No children playing, no dogs barking. The village seemed to hold its breath. LaBelle called out, only the wind answered. He went hut to hut, pushing back flaps to look inside. They were all empty. Pots of food still hung over cold fires, frozen solid. Sealskin kayaks stored by the lake, untouched. Rifles leaning against doorways. No Inuit hunter would ever leave a rifle behind. Sled dogs, the village's main transport, found starved, tied to trees. In the graveyard, several graves had been opened. The bodies were gone. Stones were neatly stacked to the side, done by human hands. LaBelle rushed to the telegraph office and sent a message to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They launched an investigation, but they found no tracks leading away. Some reported a strange glowing object in the sky, leading to theories of alien abduction. Let's sail to the warm waters of Australia for a more recent puzzle. In April 2007, a beautiful 33-foot catamaran named the Kaz II was found drifting off the Great Barrier Reef. Derek Batten, Peter Tunstead, James Tunstead. They were experienced sailors on what was supposed to be a dream trip up the coast of Australia. A helicopter spotted the Kaz II. Something was wrong. The sails were up, but the boat was just drifting with the current. No one at the helm. A maritime patrol boat was sent to investigate, crew boarded. The scene was normal and deeply strange. The engine was running. A laptop computer was on and open. The radio was working. Food set out on the table. Wallets still on board. Cell phones still on board. Emergency systems functioning. No sign of a struggle. No damage to the boat. The only things out of place: shredded sails and a small fishing line trailing in the water. Investigators found a video camera. The footage was the last record of the men. It showed them fishing. It showed them relaxed and enjoying their trip. The last clip filmed just hours before the boat was found. The camera is put down. Recording ends. What happened in those next few hours? Official theory: one man fell in untangling a fishing line. Then another fell in trying to help. Finally, the third may have been struck by the boom and knocked overboard. It's a possible explanation, but many find it hard to believe. How could 3 experienced sailors all fall overboard and not get back on? The Kaz 2, often called the ghost ship. Now we venture into a story that is famous, but for a reason. The date is December 5, 1945. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger bombers take off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This was Flight 19, a routine training mission. The commander was Lieutenant Charles Taylor, an experienced pilot. The weather was clear. The mission was simple: fly east, practice bombing, and return to base. But something went terribly wrong over the Atlantic Ocean. About an hour and a half into the flight, the control tower received a strange radio message from Lieutenant Taylor. He sounded confused and worried. He said his compasses were not working. He didn't know which way was east or west. He thought they were over the Florida Keys, but the control tower knew they were far out in the Atlantic. Taylor's voice was filled with uncertainty. He was lost. The other pilots in his flight were also lost. They were flying blind, a group of 5 planes lost in the vast expanse of the ocean. They were running low on fuel. The weather was getting worse. The sun was setting. Taylor made a fateful decision. He believed they were over the Gulf of Mexico and decided to fly north, deeper into the ocean. The last message heard from Flight 19 was garbled and faint. Then, there was only silence. All 5 planes, and the 14 men aboard them, had vanished. The search for Flight 19 and the rescue plane found nothing. A Martin Mariner seaplane with a crew of 13 men was sent out to look for Flight 19. But just 23 minutes after takeoff, the seaplane also disappeared from radar. A ship in the area reported seeing a huge explosion in the sky at the exact time and location where the seaplane vanished. No wreckage, no life rafts, no bodies. A total of 6 aircraft and 27 men were gone. Our final mystery takes us to a small village in England called Woolpit, way back in the 12th century. The story is one of the strangest on record. One day during the harvest, villagers were working in the fields when they heard strange cries from a deep pit used to trap wolves. When they looked inside, they were astonished. They found 2 children, a boy, a girl. They were not like any children the villagers had ever seen. Their skin was green. They spoke a language no one could understand and wore clothes of a strange, unknown fabric. The villagers took them to Sir Richard de Calne's home. They were frightened, refused the food offered. For days they ate nothing until someone brought fresh green beans. The children grabbed the beans and ate them. For a long time, green beans were the only food they would eat. Slowly they adapted. Their green color faded. The boy grew sick and died. The girl survived. She learned English. She was baptized and later married a local man. When she told her story, it was stranger than her look. She said they came from St. Martin's Land, a place where the sun never shone. They heard a loud noise like bells. Drawn to it, they found a cave and walked for a long time, then suddenly emerged into bright fields near Woolpit, blinded by light, frightened by harvest noise. Were they telling the truth? Children from another dimension? Or a folk tale? Some historians suggest lost Flemish children with an anemia that turns skin green. We will never know for sure. Their story sits between folklore and the unexplained, a question we still ask. What could have happened? When faced with mysteries like these, our minds race to find explanations. It's human nature to try and solve the puzzle. For cases like the Roanoke colony, the most logical theory is assimilation. The colonists likely joined a friendly Native American tribe to survive. It's a simple answer, but it doesn't explain why there is no definitive archaeological proof. For the maritime mysteries, the power of the ocean is a strong suspect. A sudden massive wave, a rogue wave, could easily have swept the lighthouse keepers to their deaths. On the Kaz 2, a simple accident could have quickly become a tragedy in the open water. These are plausible, scientific explanations, but they feel incomplete. They don't explain the uneaten meal, the single set of oilskins left behind, or how 3 capable sailors could all be lost at once. The human element, the strange details, make us look for more. Then we have the more out there theories. Aliens, paranormal activity, portals to other dimensions. For the village of Anjikuni, with its empty graves and reports of strange lights, alien abduction is a popular theory. For the green children of Woolpit, the idea that they came from another world or dimension fits their strange story perfectly. These ideas are exciting and capture our imagination. They suggest that the universe is far stranger and more mysterious than we can comprehend. While there is no proof, these theories persist because the alternative, that we simply don't know, is sometimes harder to accept. Ultimately, the lack of evidence is what makes these stories so powerful. With no bodies, no wreckage, and no definitive clues, we are left with only speculation. Could a disease have wiped out the Roanoke colonists? Did a dispute among the Flannan Isles keepers turn violent? Did the people of Anjikuni simply migrate? Each theory has its supporters and its critics. The truth could be a combination of factors, or it could be something so simple and strange that we have not even considered it yet. Each case is an open book, waiting for a final chapter that may never be written. Why do these stories fascinate us so much? They are more than just historical puzzles. They tap into a deep primal fear, the fear of the unknown. The idea that people, even entire communities, can simply vanish is terrifying. It reminds us our world isn't as safe and predictable as we'd like. There are still shadows on the map, places where anything can happen. These mysteries challenge our sense of order and control. We are small parts of a very large, strange universe. These tales ignite wonder and adventure, real-life expeditions into the unknown. We become detectives, sifting through clues, trying to piece together what happened. A natural event? A human act? Something else entirely? The search for answers is a journey. Each new theory, each re-examination of the evidence. We explore the limits of our understanding and imagine beyond everyday life. These stories are a playground for the imagination. The people in these stories were real. They had families, hopes, dreams. By telling their stories, we keep their memory alive. We refuse to let them be forgotten. We honor them by continuing the search for truth, even if it's out of reach. Their disappearance left a void. Our fascination tries to fill it. So what do you think happened? Logical explanations? Something more mysterious? Each case is an open book, waiting for a final chapter that may never be written. Maybe that's the point. Maybe some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. They're meant to make us think, to wonder, to keep looking up at the stars and out at the vast, empty ocean. Share your favorite unsolved mystery or theory in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for joining this expedition. Like and subscribe for more. Thanks for joining this expedition. Like and subscribe for more. Until next time, keep searching. Until next time, keep searching. Until next time, keep searching.